Okay. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yes, before understanding today's concepts, let's try to recollect it what we were understanding yesterday, and then we go ahead. There are some more important points understanding today. Yeah, yesterday we were talking that especially the functions. And so, how do we reuse the code? Yes, as a developer point of view, one of the important the skill set that's required during that implementation is so how you are going to reuse the code. Yeah, that is important one. But if you'd like to reuse the code, what is the option which is available from the programming is the functions create it, and wherever it is required, the block of the code and call that function. Yeah, that is going to helping that the reducing this the number of lines of the file, and not only that. And if you would like to do some changes which is required in all the places, just do this in the function that will be reflected wherever the function is invoking that. So that is the beauty of it. Yes, but yeah, so that's the way we are trying to understand it. But how do we use the functions, and how do we define the variables in a function, or how do we pass the arguments to the functions? Yeah, these are all some points which we are trying to understand that. Yes, in that section, yes, this is the yeah, the function definition we are understanding, and this is the invocation of the functions. Yeah, the beauty what we have in the shell scripting is you don't need to use a parenthesis. So just to use the function name, that's all. It is like, suppose whenever you are analyzing the existing scripts in the environment, suppose if you see this any kind of the statement like this, hello something, then thinking about it, that is the function which is calling. Or sometimes we see that monitor and then passing the arguments to that. So what is it, the monitor there? That is a one function. To the function, we are passing about the arguments. Yeah, invocation is very simple. Function invocation, just define the function name. And if you have any arguments also you can pass it. But how do we read that arguments also we are trying to understand it. And another point, like a sequence is very, very important. In the shell script, it follows the order of the statements which are defined. Yeah, whenever we see the function, so during that analyzation, just to skip that block and go to the next one. And these also function, skip it and go to the next one. Okay, so here actual invocation is happening. That means control is coming to here. So here it is executing this statement, and again it is trying to call the function. Yes, the trigger is coming to here and it executes this block. Yeah, order is very, very important. That is one more point. And yeah, so this is going to get failure right here. And how to pass the arguments to the function? It is like as command line arguments, how we are using for the script, the same approach. There is no difference at all. So the function, while invoking the function, you can pass the arguments, but you don't need to declare the parameters in the function. In the normal programs, we need to declare it, but here you don't need to declare that the parameters. Directly call the function and pass the arguments. Yeah, if you have those multiple arguments, as we are understanding about it, you can use it the dollar at the rate of asterisk. You can read that all the arguments. And then we are talking about the variables. Yeah, whether you are defining the variable, whether inside the function or outside of the function in the script, that variable by default is the global variable. That means the value which is available within the function, that variable you can read it within the function or outside of the function. But if you like to define that the scope wise function level variables, then what you need to do, that is you need to use the keyword that is local. Local and variable, if you define that, then this variable you can access only within this function, not outside of the function. Yeah, that's about understanding the variables and arguments. And finally, yes, how do we implement, I mean, how to use this function and function status based? How do we manage it about the statuses? Yeah, these are log backups. So there's some understanding that the real-time script. Is it clear about these points? Any queries, questions, please let me know before moving to the next concept. Everyone, please be active in the chat window by typing that. Good. Yeah, clear or the good. Yeah, some positive vibration that makes, right? Because if we just idle, then we get the sleep or about our mind will be diverted. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, let's move into that some more. The magical things we'll try to learn it. That is about how do we debug the scripts? Yeah, debugging options. So let's talk it about that. The how do we use it? That's debugging options. System. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, fine. So let's try to understand that so far. Suppose whenever we are analyzing the script, as a interpreter, we are working this, right? We are trying to understand that, okay, so just go ahead line by line, analyzing. Okay, if you see the function, so just to skip that function and move to the next line. And yes, here function invocation, then come back to this function and then go ahead executing one by one. I mean, that is, yeah, thinking that how it is going to execute one by one on the basis of the conditional statements. It is moving to this block or this block. And once it is done on the base of the status code, yes, the whether it is going to have it, is it successful or the failure. So if you'd like to analyze it, yes, this is the approach which you are talking that. Yes, we need to work like as a, or which we need to analyze as a interpreter. But each and every time analyzation, suppose here, if you have this kind of the lines, think it of that analyzation something difficult, right? Yeah, if you have the straightforward these lines, okay, so here the copier, here it is written, and here it is checking the status, okay, if it is okay, it is executing this statement or this statement. If you have the straightforward statements, then we are good, no issues. But yesterday we were getting there some the confusions, what exactly is going to happen here, right? Yeah, so this temporary directory, what this base name, $1 dollar date plus. So, yeah, if you are good understanding this, there's no issues. But if you have this kind of the statements, analyzation sometimes it is difficult. Then how do you handle in those cases? Yeah, so this next concept, what do we have? This is debugging solution, debugging option. Yeah, as a programmer, we should know that mechanism, which programming we are going to work with that. The debugging skills, which we should know it, the first and foremost. Yeah, if you have this any shell script, how do we debug that script? In the shell point of view, I'm talking that, but as a different programming, that programming point of view, different approaches are available, editors are available. But on the shell script point of view, so whenever you are running the shell script, how do you run the shell script in debug mode? Yeah, suppose let me take it this quickly, this block of the code. And let me log into the server. I'm going to log into the mobile system.
Uh, Sir, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, please, no
After
problem.
this session, in the end of this session, could you please give an outlay of that uh, uh, chat GPT
Yeah, sure,
session
sure.
which is
I'll
being
come back.
conducted tomorrow?
I'll come back.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Even I want to ask that, sir. Yesterday I saw the status. So.
Yeah, even I thought it to discuss end of the class. So just I'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, yeah, I just logged in and let me create one script that is debug some script. Yeah, so this is a simple script, nothing that. So it is declared one variable, test variable, and we have a send a value test to the variable and echo and printing that variable. Simple, straightforward. We can easily understand. So if you just run this script, let me run it. And yes, let's execute the script. A simple, straightforward. It is the variable is declared, and we are trying to print that variable. But if I would like to run this script in the debug mode, okay, this is a one line code or two lines code, doesn't matter that. But understand that the mechanism of the debugging. How do we use it? Whether we have the one line or 100 lines, the process mechanism is the same whenever you start the script in the debugging. So how do we start the script or shell scripts, especially in the debug mode is in the shebang option, the shebang, this is a shebang line, right? The bin bash. So here you can define that one variable that is -x. So if I define that the script, if I define like this and the shebang -x, that means we are instructing to the interpreter. So run the following commands in the debug mode. Okay, we have instructed now run this one in the debug mode. But what is the output difference? In the output wise, what is the difference? That's where we are going to have it. Yeah, now if I run this script in the debug mode, I don't see there's any difference. Oh, surprising. Just let me check it. Okay, let me remove this line. Okay, it has been started with this line, right? Start line should be bin bash, right? The script. Yeah, now if we just observe that output, now what is the variable that we have? We have declared this variable, yes, that is showing here. And yeah, let me show the file as well as to explain it. Yeah, we have declared this variable that is showing here. This is the declared variable. And whenever it is coming to the echo, we are reading this here, right? A dollar test variable. That means during runtime internally, how it is going to have that echo test. That means dollar test variable, what are the value we have that is replaced here. We can easily understand it. Suppose if I see this script, then what I need to understand, okay, this variable is declared, that's fine. Echo dollar test var. But what is the dollar test var? Test, okay, echo test, then it is going to print the test. So you need to think like this. But if I use it the debugging option, what is the advantage I'm going to get it is I don't need to give the stress to my brain, right? So I'm going to view that internally interpreter, how it is going to have this, the variable value. Yes, here in the program, this is a variable, but during that interpreter time, during execution time, interpreter is going to replace that. Yes, these are all like a debugging statements. But what about this test is? Test is actual output. Yes, whenever we run the command, what is the output we are getting? The test echo command output. But if we see this, these two lines, how that is representing that during the execution, that's we can analyze it easily by replacing the values. We don't need to do that about our side replacing that. The debug mechanism it is showing about it, debug options. Is it clear that I have understood this point? The debug usage. So plus which is indicating this is the debug line. And here this is the line, actual output of that script. So how do we start the script in the debugging mode is, that is -x option. So let me apply this debug mechanism. So here only two lines we have, two statements, where we don't see that much difference of it. But let's go ahead and observe that with the backup script yesterday, which we discussed. And so we have that script, right? Backup.sh. Yeah, so this is a script. Yesterday we were using that functionality. Now here we are having this some confusion, right? What exactly is going to happen? Now we understand, okay, fine. But whenever we see the first time, oh, okay, what is this base name, dollar, 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 date. So now this script will run it with the debug mode. And the advantage of the debugging mode, we'll try to understand it. Yeah, let me start this script in the debug mode. Oh, not this script. So -x, I'm using that, and it helps to start the script in the debug mode. And if I run that backup.sh, now you see this actually the first, okay, let me parallelly try to print that the content of the file also. As we are understanding that whenever you see this function, skip this line and go to this here, right? Next line. And this is the line which is called. You see this in the debug whenever I run it. Yes, and whenever I run in the debug mode, it is showing directly calling this function, right? So that means the statement started here. Interpreter is started here, backup of file, $1. But we didn't pass it any $1 that is empty. Okay, so actually we need to pass to this script, the script file name also, right? But here it is not received any argument. Argument is 0. And next it is entered into this script. And the file, what it is there? It is empty. Excuse me, just a minute. So the voice is coming there. I'm just muting 1 minute. Sorry guys. Okay. Yeah, so whenever we are invoking this script, we didn't pass it any file. That's why it is, whenever it is checking the condition, that means within this function we have implemented the condition, right? That means this is a statement which is executing. But what is the value we have is, that is empty. And it is coming, it is, if it is the empty, what it is doing that, it is coming to the else statement and the return one. Yes, that is showing here, return one. This is a statement which has been executed. And whenever it is the written one, then it is coming to this line and next to this condition. Now you see this, that condition, what is that output? It is actually written that one. That means dollar question mark is got that the one, and this side we are verifying with 0. But is 1 is equal to 0? No, that is a false. Next it is trying to execute this statement. That means we can understand it. It is yes, it is trying to execute this statement. Echo backup failed. And finally it is exit with a 1. Are you clear about the advantage of these debugging options? Now suppose if I run the script with let's observe that output now. With etc password, some file name will pass it, and we'll observe that output. But now this time some more output from this file. Yes, it is invoking this function. That means this line is executed. Now the $1, what is the value? This is actual script which are analyzing that. Yeah, backup file $1. Yeah, so this is a backup file etc password. Now I don't need to break my the head like to analyze it about the script. Okay, so backup file and etc password it is receiving, and is it a file or not? It is checking that. Yes, it is the file. And next, if you just observe that after coming to this block, first this command is executing that. You see that as we are talking about it, sub command execution and substituting that output to this variable. Yeah, now it is coming to this block of the statement, but here first what is the command it is executing? Base name, and with this $1 it is executing that. Yeah, that output you see that. Yes, the base name command it is executing. Base name etc password, that it has been executed. That command, that means this command has been executed. Then after that, one more sub command we have. What is that? So before executing this entire line, the sub commands it is trying to executing that. Yeah, date percentage f. Yes, what is the date? This the command is trying to executing that, the sub command. Then after executing these two sub commands, finally this entire command it is executing that. As we are talking that the first sub commands which will be executed, and that output will be substituted during executing this entire block of the statement, the entire line. Now entire line output, if we just observe that after executing these two commands, as you see that the local backup file /tmp and base name, and what it is written that password dot date plus percentage of what it is written. This is the one, and $, also we have another one, right? $, also we have that another one, that's the process ID. Yeah, so this is the entire line. Now we don't need to break the head. During runtime, what's happening that? Yes, we easily understand. But analytical skills required. Always don't depend on the debugging. Sometimes we cannot run the script. But you need to analyze the script. If you have the running environment, then use the debug and run the script in the debug mode. But sometimes in the real-time environment where we have the dependency on other scripts and other data, you cannot directly run the script like this. You have other dependencies. If you have that's kind of the scenario, then you cannot execute it in the debug mode directly the script. During the time, about our analytical skills required. How the interpreter is going to respond here. But if you're able to run the script in the debugging mode, yes, that advantage. Yeah, now this command has been executed and it is showing that now I can easily understand it. Okay, local backup of file. That is, yes, this is the file name. I mean, this is the actual value. It is assigned to this local variable. Then what we have defined, echo backing up $1 to this variable. But what is this $1? What is this $backup file? Yes, if you come back to here, you can easily understand it. Echo backing up etc password. Etc password is the $1 to, and that the backup file variable contains this value. Yeah, so this is trying to executing and it is trying to print that output. Now you see this, you don't see the plus here actually, right? Plus is not there, is nothing, but this is actual output. But plus is, this is the internal interpreter. And plus plus is nothing, but this is the subcommand. There are the two subcommands and this is a straightforward command, this is a straightforward command. Yeah, so it is printing about it, echo command, backing up etc password. Okay, it is printed. Now this command is going to executing that, but during execution, what is the value? Yes, cp command is executing with this, this password file, it is copying to this location. Now easily we can understand. So, but here in the coding level, cp $1 backup file. Okay, that is executed this statement, and after executing this statement, now it is coming to this block. But what it is written here? Yeah, now we see the 0, it has been written. 0 is equal to 0. Yes, that is successful. And it is printing that backup succeeded. And we got the output this one. Is it clear about the script? How do you run the script in the debug mode?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, now the one more point is, suppose here we have enabled the debugging to the entire script. But enabling the debug to the entire script, that is going to have the performance impact. During the execution time, what the interpreter contains internally, that is has to redirect it to the terminal, right? Yes, it is trying to print it to the terminal. The internal, what the interpreter contains during the execution time, that is as it is returning to the terminal. Terminal is the device output. So it is performing that IO operations. If you have the more IO operations, then the performance will be impacted. So we should not enable that entire script, the debugging. But yes, sometimes require the debugger. But suppose if I go to this script, remaining everything I can easily understand it. But my effort which is required is what exactly is happening in these two lines. The remaining, okay, I can understand easily. Okay, $1, what are the file we are passing, and it is checking about is it a file or not. But what is the base name, $1, yeah. So that is something which I need to analyze it here only. I don't need that entire script in the debug mode. Yeah, how do we run the script? The particular block of the statements in the debug mode. So before -x, that's which we have enabled, that is entire script. But particular block, how do we enable the debug mode is, you can use the starting block is the set -x. And where do you want to end this? The debug mode. Then end that with +x. Yeah, what we are instructing to the interpreter is during executing these statements, let me know that the debug options. But remaining, okay, go ahead. I can understand this remaining what's happening, but I need that these two lines in the debug. That's we are instructing with the set -x, that is a starting block and end block. This is a starting and ending. Between that, the commands which will be run in debug mode. Now, if I run this script, Yeah, backup failed. That means that lines are not executed, right? We need to pass the file name. Yeah, now we don't see that much lines here. Yeah, this is a sub command which is executing, and date command, and this is actually the local backup variable and echo command. So only these lines which are there, it is started in the debug. But before it was starting, you see that this condition and echo output of this, so all that. But now it is just printing these two lines with this sub commands and as well as main commands out. Yeah, the very important. So how do we start the script in the debug mode in the particular block of the code? I mean, that means, yeah, how you can apply that the debug mode to the particular block of the statement. So I don't want to apply to that entire script. Entire script unnecessarily the execution, right? Unnecessarily additional effort, additional resources. Yeah, so that is about the set minus x or set plus x. Is it clear about this? Okay, cool. So next option, what do we have to say is, let me take it one more, the use case. I'm just going to copy that block code. Then let me know what it is going to print in there. VI, okay, this is error handling. Now, if I run the script, what is the output? Can you analyze it?
First of all, we'll have ls command which is executed. So prior to that, that here will be loaded onto the file name, followed by ls command.
Okay.
And in ls command, as you know, list of files will be displayed on the current directory.
Yes.
So we'll have the list of files which are available in here.
But do we have that kind of directory? Slash not slash here? No, right? We don't have.
We don't have.
Yeah. Then what's going to happen?
If we don't have, directory will be created, but if we don't have any files, no files will be displayed. I think so.
Okay. Now we have defined the file name as slash not slash here. And I'm trying to list that. I'm trying to use that ls command to display the contents of that file or directory, whatever it is. But the directory or file, I mean the file, it is not there. Then what's going to happen? ls command.
It will throw an error, sir. Directory not available thing.
Okay. If it throws error, the next command, what is that? Is it going to executing or it is not going to executing?
It will not execute, sir. It will not execute.
It will not execute.
Because we are running the ls command. ls command is nothing but listing the files in the current directory, and if the directory itself is not existing, then how can we list the files?
Okay, forget about ls command. Okay, that's ls. Now it is, in this case, it is throwing error. File not there or some directory is not there. Good, no issues. But once we got the error, what about the next statement which are defined in the echo command? is it going to executing by the interpreter or not?
It will not execute.
Okay, now let's see that's output. So in the shell, what do we have to say is, even if you have the errors also, yeah, ls command, what it is saying this is cannot access, not here. Yeah, no such file or that. Yes, that is error. But echo command also has been executed. That means even if you have the error also, script is not exiting that, and script is continuing to the next statements to execute it. But in the normal program, if you have those any errors in that line, it throws error. Yeah, it exits.
Sir, here in shell scripting, we have an error handling mechanism.
That is I am coming
Something
to.
like
That is I am coming to that.
we have in Java now. So
yes. Try catch block options. You have that option. You can implement it that here also. But instead of that, yes, we have the simple one approach. That's I'll talk it about. But you don't need that much that try catch. The Python level that is required to understand. But scripting level normally we use it these handlings with -e. But if you have the interest, you can learn it about the try catch also. Try catch mechanisms. Yeah, but the point what you have here, that's the scripting in the shell scripting, especially. Suppose if I'm having that the script and script throws any error, shell interpreter, it just shows that the error and it moves to the next statement execution. But my requirement is, in case if you have the error, it should not come to the next line. It should stop that here itself. That is a requirement. But by default, what you have is, it is going to continue to that executing even if you have the error in the particular line. Suppose here, if I just run it ls, not here. So what is the meaning of this one? Exit status, if you verify, so echo exit status of that command, if you verify it, that returns 2. That means that is a failed. Even that line feels failed also, it is moving to that next echo command. Next statement, echo we have or whatever that something XYZ we have. It is moving to the next line. It is not exiting the script. But what about your requirement is you need to handle if any line is having the status code other than 0 in the script, we need to exit the script out there. Showing that message, it has to exit that. But by default, it is not exiting that. But how you can manage this option is, that is errors, you can use it, the statement in the shebang level, -e option. So -e, what is the meaning of that one? Here it is very instructing to the interpreter. If you have this any status code of that statements other than the 0, then exit it. But by default, it is not going to handling that errors. Whether you have the errors or not, it's trying to execute that. You need to use it exit normally. Suppose if you don't have this -e option, then what do we need to do? This command, is it executed or not? You need to handle it, right? If above statement is written the 0 equal to 0, then continue, else exit with 1. That explicitly we need to handle that. So if they didn't give this option -e, then if you like to handle the errors here, what you need to do? So this command after executing, before executing this command, you need to check that. Is it the success? I mean, is it going to return that success status 0 or not? If it is the 0, then execute this statement, otherwise exit with a different code or with a proper message. But if I use it -e, If the script is having any errors, it throws error and it stops the, or it is exited the script out there, right? Before it was moving to the next line also. That means it was not managing that errors. Now by adding the -e, yes, so if you have this any statement which returns that's a non-zero, then it exits over there itself, the script. Is it clear about that -e importance? So -x, that is a debugging options, and -e, that is for errors to handle that. But if you need that more output formats and everything, then you need to use it, the catching that the error and handling that error. But yes, the script by default, if you have the errors also, it continues that until the exit statements or until the last statement of the script. But if you'd like to handle that mechanism, then you need to go for that using -e option. Yeah, so -x and -e. Can I use the both in the same script? Yes, we can use the both -x and -e. That means I'm running the script in the debugging mode, and as well as if you have this any errors, we are catching that, or we are stopping that the errors for that itself. That means I can easily understand that what exactly is happening there. Why, what is the error and why the script is throwing that. Yes, running the debug mode. Okay, it is coming to here the file name, and ls is having this syntax, and whenever it is executing this statement and we got this error, then easily we can analyze it. Why that's error we have. Yes, this file is not there. That is starting this in the debugging mode to analyze it and to catch the errors -x, sorry, -x and -e. Yeah. Overall, that is debugging and errors. Are you clear about this point? One more important, yeah, thank you. Yeah, one more important option. What do we have this in the shebang is, suppose let me go back to that backup.sh script. Suppose if I run the backup.sh script in the debugging mode, something with the etc password or whatever the file. So here what it is showing that only interpreter related statements it is showing us, right? But what about exactly has been implemented in the script? If you'd like to analyze it, what we are doing, we are going to use it, the file content view in this, right? Yes, okay. So we have opened that the file content separately and we are analyzing the base name. Okay, where is the base name? And here it is the base name. It is coming to here. That's we are trying to uncheck. Yeah, mapping about it. Okay, this statement where it is executed. Here it is executed. But what we have implemented, okay, this is implemented during runtime. So it is having like this. But instead of opening the separately this view in the file content, whenever I'm doing the debugging itself, I would like to print this line. Then after this line, I would like to print my debugging statements. So whenever I'm analyzing about it, going to the file and checking in the file what I have implemented and coming to here and check that, some again it requires some little bit effort, right? But whenever I'm running that, the script in the debugging mode itself, the script content, whatever the content we have, yes, this is the line, I would like to print here itself. Then I can understand easily, okay, this is the line and this is the output, it is going to print. How you can run script with the debugging and as well as with the verbose mechanism. Verbose is nothing but the file output. Yeah, so in this case, how do we use it is, let me remove this at a block level. I'll enable at a global level. You can add, you can use it these statements also in -e or -x or -v. Now we are going to talk at -v. These things you can apply at the particular block or entire script level. So -xv, I'm applying this now. V is that verbose. That means print the statement of this script, then show me the debug of that statement. Yes, we are instructing to the interpreter, the verbose also. Verbose is nothing but printing output. Now we have more lines, but let's see this, what it is doing that. Yeah, whenever I run it backup.sh, yes, it is showing there's some evaluation here. Yes, the script has been started here. -xv, even that script, each and every line, it is showing that. But here what it is happened, first this script is loading into the memory. You see that it is just it is not having any debugging statements here. Do you see there's any plus symbols here? Plus, no, it is just loading everything into the memory, right? Interpreter is loading that first this function. Then what is the statement? Call the function. Yes, what is the function we are calling? This is about script statement. Script, what is the content we have? Okay, the script is coming to here, and if you see the plus, okay, this is internal of it. Internal, that's interpreter. Oh, we didn't pass the file. Then it is checking about it. -ef come back to that, and there is no file, and it returns 1. Then okay, these are all the statements which are defined in the script, and this is the block, which is trying to printing that entire block, if block. Now that if block, what is that output? 1, which has been returned equal to 0, and echo backup failed. So these are all debug statements, and this is actual statement, and backup failed, and finally exit with 1. You see that I have the script, and that script during the runtime internally, how it is or what's happening, that I'm able to easily trace it that. Suppose if I pass it that file, yeah, first it is loading this function into the memory. Sequence of the statements as it is, whatever it is happening within the interpreter, it is showing that here, and it is calling the function. And yes, that's a backup of file. This is the statement. Yeah, the backup of file now it is etc password. Now I can easily understand it. Okay, this is a statement, and $1 is nothing but etc password. Okay, then it is executing this. That means it is going to this function. This function is already loaded right into the memory. Then it is executing on base name date. Yes, this is the actual the line output which we got it. Plus you see that this is the debug lines. And backing up etc password and cp command, and there are the statements. Now again it is loading into the memory, and we got it that output. Yes, the 0 equal to 0 here. Yes, the 0 equal to 0, and backup is succeeded, and finally this is the output. So it's simplified now. I don't need to break my heads. So I'm able to see the file content here itself, and I'm able to analyze it, what exactly is happening during the runtime. These are all the very, very important techniques. Are you clear about this? Yeah, so -x, -v, and -e. If the script contains any errors, yes, it is going to handle that error and it exits over there. But the default script is whether you have the errors or not, it is keep on order based. It is going to executing the statements until it executes exit statement. If you define explicitly, okay, that's fine. So then it is exiting the script. But if you don't define that exit, even that if you have the error from the command also, it is going to move into the next statement. So that is the default behavior. But we can control that interpreter if you find it any other than the 0 status code, then exit over there itself by adding that -e in the shebang. -x is the debugging, -e is the verbose. That is to view that the file content as it is. So recommended is whenever you are analyzing, use it -ex with the v. Then you will be having the statements, and after that the interpreter related statements. Both you will be having at the same same location. I mean same terminal. Then easily you can easily analyze that. Yeah, this is about the beauty of the program. First, at least, okay, program logic, how you are going to work with that. That is something, yeah, you need to have that. Even, yes, that techniques I'm going to talk it in with the chart GPT, how you can use it, these mechanisms. Even if you'd like to write some code, how do you take the help of the chart GPT? And in the workflow, what are the main workflows will be having that in that workflow to manage that all these coding standards and coding debugging techniques, code optimization mechanisms. So how do we use it, the chart GPT, to get it the better the performance? Suppose you know that you have the shell script code and you need to convert that code into the Python. So how you can do that in a minute? Boom, that is in the 10 seconds how you can get it out. So with using that AI tools, especially the chart GPT, so how do we use it? That's we are going to talk it that. That is about chart GPT for the, yeah, if you're going to work with that Terraform scripts next, whatever we are going to talk it, or whenever you are learning that, even that is for the freshers or like the who are going to looking this, I mean, the learning these skill set is how you can use it, the chart GPT to get it the better. The tips and the tricks, we are going to provide some prompts. So as per about your use case, and you can use it that prompts, and you can take the help of the chart GPT. Within a fraction of seconds, you can complete that what you are expecting or what you need to do this. Not only that coding level, and we are going to helping this on some other, yes, the Word documents management, PowerPoints management, Excel sheets management. But in the workshop, I'm not going to talk about all the things, but especially in the workshop, programming some 10 important problems and problem related solutions. How do we take it from the chart GPT? Yeah, please.
Sir, now we are well aware of this scripting. No, do we have any Python scripting in this course going forward, or we need to learn as a separate thing?
No. We have that, but I will give that my videos. The Python, the videos itself, because once you know all these keywords and terminologies, but Python in that, the line by line I have explained in the videos, and I will give that the videos.
Means for the DevOps, Python level of knowledge, is it enough if we have some basic knowledge, or we need to have any module level knowledge?
Not required, and exactly that's module level not required. But if you know that the scripting level management, like as shell scripting, these functions, procedures, and functions and the iterations and variables management, and somewhat like handling about that exceptions, and how do we import the modules and module related functions, how do we use it? If you know those concepts, more enough. But not required as object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming, if you know, that is different, the programmer. But as automation scripts to manage it, if you have this any script, the script, how do you understand that? Even that understanding, you can take the help of this now the ChatGPT. That is a beauty. You don't need to break it. But suppose if you have this some script, and the script, if you'd like to analyze it, you don't need to ask anyone.
Means where we are going to use this Python in DevOps or scripting?
Yeah, that is. I will talk it that in the use cases. Yes, we have. I mean, this shell script we are talking about it automation at OS level.
Okay.
And Python, which we are going to use it to manage that at infra level. Infra level, suppose AWS. We have that the GUI based and OS, which we can manage it through the API based also.
Okay.
That API, the Python is having some modules like Troposphere, Moto 3. Suppose if I would like to launch the virtual machine, I can use it the Python program as well as on the AWS. So that is we have that. I mean, I'll talk. We have the separate the section on this the Python. Yes, definitely you will get it those points.
Yeah, one more query for ChatGPT nowadays that is booming. So what should be the base required to learn ChatGPT?
Yeah, ChatGPT. So as that the current point of view, we have this. I mean, the developer side that is required of the ChatGPT, the importance. But as a DevOps engineer or as like a developer's point of view, if we are working this in the infrastructure, we should know how to use the ChatGPT effectively to, I mean, the requirements or the workflow requirements point of view about those problems related solutions. How do you take it from the ChatGPT? If you know those techniques, then I mean, AI tools are not going to replace about our jobs. But if you don't know those tools, how do we use it effectively? Then you will be having the problem. Got my point? Suppose now I need to write this for this backup. Or you have some script and which you need to convert into that some Python scripting. Normally, if you're going to work that's about your site, if you don't know that mechanism from the ChatGPT, if you're going to do that about yourself, it requires at least 6 or 7 hours of the time converting about that script or implementing the script. Or suppose you have the script and in that script you need to write documentation. But writing the line by line the documentation, that takes some effort. So at least going for that, suppose if you have that 50 lines and each line, what do they do that? So the standards verification point of view, you are following that all the comments writing in the scripts or not. So that is very, very important. Instead of implementing the code, coding standards, code optimization techniques, and the debugging mechanism, these are all important. Suppose here, if we just talked about this script, which we are talking that, sorry. All these points I'm going to talk it in the seminar. Suppose here it has been defined that comment lines. So what is that advantage? Yes, tomorrow whenever you are going to use it, suppose this script I have implemented and you have joined to the project and you need to work it on this the code. And if I have written these comments, then easily you can understand that with these comments, right? Instead of breaking that head, breaking this about this with this coding, then if I see this the statements, I should be able to understand. So writing the documentation, what you have done here is also important. But if you go for this line by line writing the documentation, that takes more time. But that effort you can complete within just 5 to 10 minutes. If you have the 100 lines of the file also, with the ChatGPT taking the help of it, you can complete within the 2 to 3 minutes. Just to give that the input to the ChatGPT, it's going to prepare that all the documentation for you and it gives to you and use it that. 10 seconds, that is enough. So that's going to save the lot of time and it is going to helping to improve about your performance of that, about your the work which you are doing that. That's why the next, as we are talking about it, AI revolution. Definitely. So that is not going to replace completely about our jobs. So manual effort is required. It cannot replace the manual. But the who is there in that role, he should know how do we use it, those tools. That is important. If you would like to sustain with about your job, if you know these techniques, then it will be helpful in your real time. Have got my point?
Yes, sir. So it is like continuous sessions, or like maybe post this session we can take that. It is like one time you're taking it.
Yeah, one time only. That is a 3 hours. And
Correct. No, you will repeat the same session again in other, like maybe another month and again.
oh,
Or it
okay,
is the
okay.
first time.
Yeah, this is first which we are conducting. Yes, we will repeat it. We will repeat it, and we are
Repeat
going
it.
to come up with the next. Even this learning also, we are moving into that AI based with about my training sessions. How to use it the both to learn it in the better way. That is also I am coming with that, but that will be repeated sessions.
Okay, sir. Okay. Maybe after learning this, it will be easy for us to understand. I just thought it.
Not now you are learning during the learning time also you can use it that. Even if you are the fresher, even if you are that like I mean the who are looking about that learning the new technology, moving to that, or if you are already working and if you would like to know about it, some there's better performance wise managing about your code. So we will provide it some prompts which are going to helpful to you where you can use it whenever it is required during the learning time. You can use it those prompts, or whenever you are joined to that in the infra, you can use it those prompts. So that means we have the some ready-made templates. If you just type it that, then you will get that what you need it. So we are going to provide that 100 plus, that's the prompts, those things. That is will be helpful to you whenever you are during the learning time. Also, you can ask the chat GPT, give me the sample code. But yes, completely if you depend on the code, yes, during the learning time, you need to yes first work it on the manual style. Then once you know the manual style, then how do we use it that script to get the better or a fast way to get that the solutions. Suppose if it has given that the some script on the shell, but if you don't know the shell, then what do you do that? We cannot understand anything, right? We should know it. But even that learning also we can take it from the ChatGPT. The beauty of that AI tools. Even that is not only just for learning on technology side, and we are going to give that some videos. So on that like especially Excel sheet data management, formulas to define it, how to take the help of the ChatGPT. Or how do we create pivot tables in the Excel sheets with one click? You don't need to break about your head, but you should know those techniques. If you know those techniques, then 5 hours work you can complete within 1 hour. Yeah, work will be there, but that work to get it in the better, the way that is in the fast way or better in the performance way, how do we use this chat GPTs, AI tools? Yeah, that is, I'm going to give that in the 3 hours of the session with the some the inputs prompts. Once you join that, and that will be given for the 1 year, and any new prompts or the new the which we are going to have it, that will be updated. Yeah, good. So anyway, have got these points on the shell point of view.
Yes, sir. Good.
Suppose as simple as it is one simple trick, I'll say that. Suppose you and about your colleague working that on the same project and same work, but he knows those techniques. How do we use it, the chat GPT, and how do we get that better way of the result? But you don't know that, and you are doing that about your own way using the Google or something. Then definitely he will complete that the task by saving that at least 3 hours of that the daytime, then comparing with you. So that's the beauty of this next AI evolution. Required, the resources required, there is no. But who doesn't know these techniques? Definitely those are all going to have that some impact. If you know all these techniques, then that saves that time to the project. In the next future, as managers, they look at about that. Do you know that AI tools with DevOps? Then come to that. Because AI techniques, if you know those techniques to use it while implementation time or while working as in the infra, not only implementation, any workflow, even the DevOps process model, programmers, that is Shell or Python or any program, whether it is a web developer or front-end developer or back-end developer or DevOps engineer who is writing the infrastructure. Yes, I'm going to show that. That's on the Terraform side. But if you know that, okay, that you can understand. But yeah, the techniques and the prompts, whatever we are going to give it, that will be helpful whenever you are working. During the learning time also, that will be helpful. Yeah, if you're going to learn with those techniques, then you are doing that while learning itself. Then whenever you are applying this in the infra, how to use the chat GPT to get with that, the better the performance, then you are on the track during the learning time. That's why we have introduced. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for giving the time on this. Yeah, know that. I mean, that is actually that is very, very important. We need to we need to change or we need to update it about our skill set as the market trend. 2023 market trend is AI techniques. AI developers we have separately. I'm not going to talk at the developer. Even that's also we are planning to come back to that. Even the Python you are working as. And in my application, I need to have the chat GPT for my application, products and services for the customers. Yes, I need to use the chat GPT APIs. The backend, I need to use it those mechanisms, and I can help to my customer. Customer says that, give me the description of this product. And if you just search it in the search bar, then that product complete details. Yes, what this is the product name, product price. Yes, in the human conversation way, that is important. It is how Google also will give that. But Google, you need to search it and you need to find that what is the best description of it. But AI is going to give that, automatically searching that and whatever the best mechanism which is available and what is the best strategy that is available, that strategy it is going to return that to us. That means it saves that lot of time for us. That is the main. Yeah, DevOps is, I mean, it will be there, but DevOps with those techniques, if you are going to follow that, then you will be one of the key performance player in the team. But if you don't know those techniques, yeah, you can complete the task, no issues. But yes, but that's taking that additional effort and additional time compared with that using the AI techniques. Okay, good. Yeah, that's about some important here. The statements which are understanding -X, -V, and -E. That is a debugging, error handling, and verbose option. Are you clear those 2 points? The one is, I mean, about that the AI with ChatGPT, and yes, this side about the debugging. Are you clear these 2 points? Just type that. Awesome. Yeah, I have given some very good information to you. Then you should be very the fast way to view the response. I see that very slow. Yeah, good. I see there's responses. Yes, Shah, Sushma, Ravi. Okay, good. So next is, yeah, with all these the important concepts which we have discussed. But anyway, these scripts knowledge whenever we started AWS, whenever I'm going to talk it, I'm not going to use that much script. But after that AWS completes, whenever we start the DevOps, then we are going to work with the DevOps with the AWS shell scripting. So during that time, we'll see that how especially the scripting can be applied for the infra provisioning point of view, or platform provisioning point of view, or a deployment activities point of view, how the scripting model is going to help. We have the project-based demonstrations. The real-time project, we will take it, which is have the 3-tier architecture of application with the database backend, middleware component, and front-end component. Yes, during that time, with one click, how do we launch the complete resources which are required to host the application? During that time, I'm going to talk it some more the examples with this shell scripting for that infra to apply it. That is a packages management, users management, whatever we discuss the Linux and these concepts, both together we will apply over there. But now I am just taking some basic examples here, some 2 or 3 real-time examples, that is a site reachability or not, and how to take the backups of this. Yes, these scripts you can just refer it. And the next, I'm going to share it one video. There you will find it 4 or 5 some more real-time examples which have been clearly explained. This weekend, spend the time and go ahead with that, and try to complete all these activities by end of this weekend. And if you have the time, review about Linux also one more time. But AWS, whenever we are going to start it, I don't need that that much dependency, because AWS, yes, that is one point. But yes, the DevOps, as whenever we are planning, come back to the automation approaches. During that time, I need that AWS, Linux, shell scripting. These are the 3 pillars. We are going to take it and applying this with the DevOps process model. But now we are understanding that one by one, the concepts, that is Linux concepts, about users management, package management, process management, service management, files management, networking concepts. So there are 6 or 7 concepts, whatever we discussed, yes, they're all important in the DevOps. And from the scripting point of view, condition-based statements, iteration-based statements. Next, whenever we are going to talk it in the DevOps, if I say that iteration, or if I talk it about that conditional, or if I talk it in the variable, you should understand that whatever I am talking. If I say that the variable, okay, variable contain the left side, the name, and right side is the value that represents. Or sometimes we use the word properties or attributes, or in the database wise we say the column, but all represent the same. If you have the property, one property which is on the name and value, and sometimes we use the key and value, but they're all the variables concept. Yeah, so come back with all these the terminologies, and knowing that these concepts, and I will share it about that one video, which is having some more examples, how to take that the backups, and how to connect to the remote systems with SH options, and how do we verify that the disk space is reached the some 70%. Yes, you need to send the notifications. Yeah, that is kind of the monitoring of the infra. Suppose in the development environments or testing environments, the client doesn't want to use that monitoring tools, and he doesn't want to spend some money on it, those environments. Then he will ask that, first write the script. If the disk space is reached the 70%, they get the notification, and then do that action of it. So those kind of the scripts they ask you. Or if you're going to do the deployment, sometimes we cannot handle the deployment directly. So you need to have it some wrapper classes, the wrapper scripts. So during that time, so how do we write it, these scripts? Yeah, they will ask you this, write the some shell script, which takes that reading that some data and writing to that another file or another format, conversions. So if you have the data processing model, so that is reading the data and writing, Python will be used mostly. But our OS related activities, that is users management, package management, network management, process management. So those activities, if you would like to manage it through automation, we use the shell script. And even the deployment solutions. But DevOps solutions also we have. But what is the difference between the shell script and DevOps tools like Ansible, Puppet, Chef? Why I should not use it always the shell script? Shell script, okay, we are talking that. But this is not going to helpful in all the cases. But what are those limitations? This we'll talk it anyway, one by one. That is about our objective. But if you are good with these so far, the concepts which we discussed, then you will enjoy that next classes, especially in the DevOps. AWS, okay, that is straightforward. Some solutions we are talking that on-premises solutions, fast optimization techniques, scaling features, how to get that infra in minutes, that is ready-made solutions, or on-demand. Those kind of problems related statements we are going to talk it that's in the AWS. Yeah, are you clear about these points? Are you enjoying the classes? Type that enjoying. If you are enjoying the Linux and shell script, all these. Good, thank you. Okay, enjoying the call or class, okay. But yeah, if you do have done this, the practice also, that's why like we give that on Saturday and Sunday as we understand it, the working people point of view. Yeah, learning and spending that, attending the classes and spending the time on the practice, that is not possible on the same days. Yes. By the end of the weekend, make sure about it, you have completed. Then next week, you will enjoy more. By that weekend is what we discussed in the week. If you're going to spend that, okay, the 3 hours or the 4 hours on Saturday and some 2-3 hours on Sunday, then you can complete the tasks and you will be ready for the Monday. Yeah, some self-learning is also required. Everything it is not possible in the class. But yes, as I'm talking about it, some more examples I will share to the video. Then you can just understand it. And I have the scripts also. Run those scripts in the debug mode and analyze the scripts. Yeah, so far whatever we discussed, whenever you are running, and run the script with the debug mode. But in the first class if I say the debug mode, then you don't think it about all these, right? What's happening within the script, then we don't analyze it. We should know that how the interpreter is working. But instead of breaking that about our heads always, then we take the help of the debugging. But before the debugging, you should know that what is exactly the debugging is doing. That's why I just left this concept at the end. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's all from my side for today. And I will share that the videos which are required for this weekend. And go ahead. And if you have any practices on these scripts, yeah, try to practice it and come back to the Monday with a fresh mind to start AWS. That is one more beauty. So why do we need to go for that AWS as a DevOps engineer? Yeah, that is, we are having all those points anyway. We'll come back to it. Yeah, any queries, questions before going to wind up today? If anyone having the interest for that the workshop, you can just contact front desk team and they will help you. But that is optional. But if you know, definitely you see there's some difference how you can use that the AI mechanism in the next generation for the DevOps engineer or you are the software engineer or whatever it is. Yes, that will be helpful. Yeah, thanks to all. So we'll meet on Monday and we'll continue the next another the amazing tool that is, amazing environment that is cloud. Thank you all.